talk about that. And yeah, I got to give you a rundown. So, all right, we're going to get started. It is 9 a.m. Pacific. Welcome to Intuitive You at Oneness Talk Radio. How to heal and create the life you desire by following your intuition. I am so happy you're here. And Jenny Handy is with me this morning, and she is just such a dear friend and soul sister. I mean, I am so convinced in every cell of my body that we're all like reuniting on this higher frequency of love, like lifting it up. And Jenny, God, I think it's been, I want to say like 10 years, right? Like we took something called, what was it called, Jenny?
I think it was the Hangout Marketing Secrets.
Hangout, Google Hangouts, right? So before Zoom started, there was Google Hangouts, and we met at this conference with Alex Mandozian, and this woman comes up to me and she's just like, I don't know, I saw her heart, right? And she saw mine. That's all I remember. And it was just instant. And I was like, hey, I'm doing this seminar series. She's like, I do marketing. Anyways, long story short, she wrote the marketing for our Intuition to Income Global Summit, and I still use that marketing. So like her words are so powerful. They've reached thousands of people, and just the power of presence and words together is amazing. And maybe Jenny, if you want to go through a little bit, I have so much to share this morning, but I just want to introduce you for where you're at and just the power of presence and words. If you want to just share a little bit about that and your background and how you've been able to show up in that way.
Yeah, well, as you so kindly introduced me, I am mostly a copywriter and marketing strategist, and my specialty is working with speakers, authors, coaches, trainers, people who are sharing their expertise one-to-many through live events, virtual events, online courses, webinars, you name it. That's my sweet spot. It's where I love to play. And you and I, we met at that Hangouts event. And what I remember most, I actually was cleaning up my inbox this weekend and going through all these files and found communication from way back then between the two of us. And what I remember most about you, you were just your love personified. Like you are loving the human body. Absolutely.
Love personified.
You were just like, you're just loving, you're just love. That's all. That's what I remember the most about you. And you had some really great clothes. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I so appreciate you saying that. And I guess, I've been really challenged with the present life circumstances, right? So I know I'm love, I know you're love, I know everybody's love, right? But there's been so many stressors, and even to get here in this moment. So Jenny, we were talking, 3 weeks ago, right? About the move from Oregon to California. And I was like, Jenny, I'm so scared I'm gonna get the virus. I don't know. Like I was just in my fear, right? Amidst being love, I felt fear, right? And so you talked me through it. Anyways, I basically ended up delaying. Like I'm actually at the beautiful studio in Encinitas right now, but I didn't make the final move because my intuition said, wait. But when it was time, I literally was moved. So one of the biggest messages that I want to give everybody today is I don't want to claim to have anybody's answer, but I do want to be the living testament of love and intuition and tell you what happened for me and what continues to happen. And I know, Jenny, you have stories that you're going to share too, and I know it's just the way it works, right? So when you go to your heart, your love, right? And Sri and Kira that own Oneness Talk Radio are just like soul family, and they're reminding me to come back here, right? So Bria and I talked about putting our hands on the heart, the very first show that we had, breathing into the love. And Kira talks about, this heart being like the cellist, right? The new foundation. And so I felt my heart. And then the next step is the gut feeling, right? And it wasn't right for me to go 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I paused. And then I got upset because my heart still wanted to go. And I was disappointed. And I actually felt depression, which even when I had the wellness center, I don't know, probably 10 years ago too, around that time, I remember telling people, if you're feeling depressed, you're probably not listening to the truth of you. Think about the word depression. You are depressing in, you're coming into yourself. Whereas if you open up to yourself, your energy lifts, it's inspired. So I was like, okay. So like all this fear of the coronavirus, all this fear of, driving, actually at that point, it was even flying. I was freaked out about it. So if you have fear, drop into your knowing, your hand on your heart, then your gut. And then the next step will be provided. So I said, pause. Then I said, okay, I'll take a flight. So then I booked the flight. So I talked to Alyssa, who's a dear student and friend. She's going to be teaching the retreat in March in Ecuador with us. And I'm like, Alyssa, it feels really right to do this. And she's like, okay, follow your intuition, do it. So I booked the flight. Then Friday rolls around. I'm like, I don't want to get on the flight. It doesn't feel right, right? And I'm like judging myself, like I shouldn't be in fear, blah, 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 but it doesn't feel right. So I pause. I'm like, but my heart still wants to go. So literally, I'm like in the kitchen downstairs, walk upstairs, like something moves me. And this is what intuition does. It literally moves you like a magnet to your next step. So it like moves me up the stairs into the chair at my office. And Kira, in that moment, had sent me an email. And she said, Abby, I'm holding your heart. You can do this. Something about, I don't know, leading, just go for it, right? Just be in the love. And I was like, wow, my gut, my heart gut connection, my intuition guided me in that exact moment, right? Then a few hours later, my friend walks in the door. It's like, okay, it's time to go. My body literally leads me to the car rental place because I was like, I still want to go, not going to fly. What's the other way? Infinite possibilities, right? So I line up a rental car because I had this darling little 99 BMW, but it could not go 14 hours. I was like, there's no way I'm taking that trip in that. So I get the rental car. And the day before, they said, well, what do you want in a rental car? And I said, well, it'd be really great if it was white, but I didn't really think it would happen. And they gave me this great price. And then like 20 minutes later, they're like, oh, by the way, we don't accept credit cards, just debit cards. And I'm like, well, I don't really use credit anymore. So debit is what needs to happen. So then I'm like, oh, shoot, I guess I can't go. 20 minutes later, I call the manager back. She's like, we'll accept your card. You can do it. I'm the manager. Great. So I get there, get to the rental car place. The original car they gave me was like Acura, and we're looking at it and they're like throwing this like smoke bomb in it or something because somebody had smoked in it. And we're like, ooh, like I don't want that car, but like I didn't say anything. There was actually a person ahead of me and I was like, just let her go. It's fine. Like it'll work out. Person comes out and they're like, so that car over there, somebody smoked in it, but we have a brand new stinking car, brand new white. It's like an ultimate Nissan, gorgeous, right? And they're like, would you like the new car? I'm like, yes. So all to say, as I'm following my intuition, I get a brand new car to safely drive me all the way down from Oregon to Southern California, 14 hours. I kid you not, about 8 hours through like smog, smoke, like dust, like all sorts of things, right? And my mom's like, she's like, it's your angel, Abby, it's your angel car. And I'm like, yeah, it really is. So here I arrived. I followed my intuition. I'm like happy as ever. And I'm like, it was the timing. It was moment to moment. I wasn't ready to let my 3-bedroom house go right away. I needed to come see it first. So all of this to say, wherever you are at in your life right now, however you feel, it's okay. But your intuition will keep nudging you. And that email was like, from Kira, was like the little nudge, right? She wasn't going to tell me. Nobody was telling me what to do, right? They're like, we love you, like literally friends from Oregon all the way down. And then also in California, like, we love you, whatever you want, we're here for you, but you have to make your choice, right? So your intuition is your teacher, but it's leading you into that higher state of love. There's just a dear client, I don't want to say names without breaking confidentiality, but I love that we share in this higher love frequency. Like I feel like that's where we're lifting up. And so Jenny, if you want to add anything into that, like I know you live from that place and I want to hear your story, whatever you want to share for the last like 10 years. I mean, we've got to catch up personally, but how you followed your intuition to heal and create the life you love. You're doing it right now. You just told me, about what just happened a week ago. So it's like, what is that, impetus that like gives you the courage to take that step, right? Because my mind was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get the virus. But and my friends are like, whatever, like, so are you going to trust your heart and your gut or listen to your mind, So to you, sister.
Right. Isn't that always the challenge though, right? Trusting that intuition versus the logical brain that looks at all the things that could go wrong or might go wrong and all the problems that are there. It's almost a leap of faith in some ways, but I think the more you look for evidence of it working, the better.
Yeah.
So like in terms of, we were just talking off camera, using my intuition, I had an appendectomy about a week ago.
Tell me what that is. You said it's
having your appendix removed,
okay.
Which is the thing like you think of as a parent, you think of your little kids having it. That's when you think people have appendicitis, and turns out, nope, you can get it when you're older too. And it was one of those things like throughout the day, I woke up not feeling quite right. And even I talked to myself out loud all the time. And I'm like, oh, I just don't feel right today. Canceled a couple of appointments, like, my logical brain was saying, oh, it's just fine. It's because of this, or this. You're totally fine. And what just kept coming up is, look at the symptoms of appendicitis. And it was like a little check mark, running right down the list, meeting all the symptoms. And it was a fascinating day for me to see. My intuition was saying appendicitis. I even muscle tested, like, do I have it? Yes. Do I need to go to the ER? Yes. Should I go to the urgent care? No. Go straight to the ER. I'm like, no, because I was listening too much to my logical brain, which is like, oh, that can't possibly be. Who has appendicitis at your age?
Yeah.
It's just a stomach ache. It'll pass. And I have a really smart sister. And as I was running through the symptoms, she's like, you need to hang up the phone and go to the doctor right now. Listen to your intuition. Just go.
Yeah.
And it was totally true. And it worked out really well. I mean, for me, it was easy peasy. It was astonishing how well everything went, minimal pain. Surgery was great. And hearing people respond like, oh my God, we were so worried. I'm like, I wasn't worried at all, honestly. It was just, it seemed so straightforward. And hearing people share like, oh, that must have been terrifying to go to the hospital now in the COVID era. I'm like, not really. Like, I just trusted whatever was supposed to be was supposed to be, and it was fine. It worked out beautifully. And had I waited and kept listening to that logical brain, it could have gotten a lot worse, because when you run into trouble is when your appendix actually bursts and a whole bunch of complications. It just worked out really well. But the thing that I keep coming back to is like, yeah, if you just listened to your intuition, you would have gone much earlier in the day, right? Had the surgery a day earlier.
Yeah. But you're going to go when you need to go. Like I said, your intuition will keep nudging you. And then I do believe you get confirmation. Like you said, your sister, right, is like, go, right? And then when something feels right, you know to take action on it, right? You're like, what she's saying does feel right. I'm going to go.
Yes.
And it's weird, like, even as my friend, like, I'm like feeling myself like not breathing because I'm like panicking, worrying about you, right? And I feel like, I'm so glad you're okay. And we're so connected to each other. So I kind of wonder, how much of each other are we feeling right now in this pandemic and everything that's going on? Like, how can we breathe in love and breathe out fear? Because part of the reason I didn't want to come to Southern California is I feel everything going on around you. I feel people watching me. I feel the government. I feel everything. And the drive down here, like, honestly, I called my mom. I was crying because I watched, like, fields of just, things being processed and all the stuff in the air and just like everything, how people have taken over, with money and almost greed and just not being on the earth and caring for it. So I just was sad. Like, I want to live here. It's beautiful, but like, can we treat the earth different? Can we? And I know we can. I know everybody listening can. And I believe like this force of light and love, really can make a change. I also feel the other energies. So I don't know if you have anything to add, Jenny, because this is part of my personal journey right now of being, uniting with you all to be this light, because there's other stuff going on. How do we be the change and be the love and trust our intuition at the right place, at the right time, in the right moment, protected, healed, safe, moving forward.
Yeah, it is definitely a challenge. I think it's a very unusual time, and it's really easy to get us swept away by fear, or with the battles going on over, political parties and who views masks as reasonable and who views it as a hoax. Like, it's so easy to get swept away into that. And I think especially if you can feel the energy, it's got to be really rough. Like, you have to really take really excellent care of yourself. There's that idea of putting your own oxygen mask on first, right? When you fly, if you're traveling with somebody younger than you or who might need your help, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, which we've all heard. And now is really a time where you have to be paying attention to that, because it's easy to get swept away. I know at the beginning of all of this, I live in Illinois, which was one of the earlier states to put things into a lockdown and a shelter at home situation. It was really tense. It was really tense. My daughter was at school, and getting her home from school and getting all of her stuff moved out of the door, and that helped settle things down, and getting some supplies stocked, that helped. And then for me to get out of that fearful place, because it is really easy to get swept away, for me, what worked was just calming down and stepping away, like turning off TV, to just unplugging from social media and journaling every morning and starting with gratitude. just writing a list of what are all the things I am grateful for, because if I am grounded in this particular moment, everything is okay right now. My kids are home, my family is healthy, I have a roof over my head, I have some money in the bank account, I have food. Like just running through that list and tapping into that gratitude to me has been tremendously helpful. And knowing that previous generations have faced really scary things, it's all in how we choose to experience this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I mean, even when we talked a few weeks ago, you were such a grounding force for me because I was in the push-pull, right? The love and the fear. And then it was like, I got swept away by the fear. I was like, you literally get swept away by it because it's kind of like a current. But if we can stand solid in it, you know, Janice, I don't know if you watched the show a couple weeks ago, but she talked about, maybe this is a private conversation, but being an eye in the center of a hurricane, right? So there's a centeredness, and even the namaste, even just feel your hands. It's funny, like in this magazine, I don't know, it was sitting on the table before, but somebody's saying namaste. It was on the table. It actually dawned on me to put it. I was like, okay, so the namaste of coming into the heart place and then just opening up. In that place of our infinite oneness connection, we can find the love that guides us. And so what I started doing is I wrote this rock years ago and it just says, I love on it. And so if I keep following what I love, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be okay. But if I go into the fear, then I'm like man, I don't even want to say the word, but like, I'm just on, it feels like hell, right? If I'm in that fear, I feel like I'm in this like drugged down dark, like the pit of hell, because it just doesn't feel good. And it's like, eventually like friends and family were just kind of like, all right, like we'd rather live while we're alive and be in the love because we're alive right now. So, you know, where is love leading you today? And my guides had said that a few weeks ago, because I'm like, where do I go? Oregon, California, what do I do? It's like this back and forth thing, right? They're like, follow the path of love. And that's part of this, right? Let love illuminate the way. It's there. And like you said, your mind isn't bad, you know, so I'm personally trying to make peace with my mind because it's giving us information. Like, you know, when I decided to, you know, move and signed all the papers, like I didn't really get what was going on with the coronavirus. I didn't. And that's why I started backing out because I was like, I didn't have that information in my mind. And when I found out, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, and my cousin yesterday was like, gosh, Abby, he's like, you live in such a bubble. I was like, I know I do. But then like, honestly, was it 3 or 4 days ago, I was working with this other client. It was so beautiful, you guys. Oh my gosh. So she's like somewhere, I don't know, in the middle of the country. And so I'm in the office. She turns on her computer, literally a screen of the earth, the whole globe, white light around it flashes. And she's like, Abby, I didn't put this backdrop up. She's like, this backdrop just came on my background. She's like, I've never seen this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we are living in another reality. We're living in like the fifth or seventh, we're living in so many dimensions. And what's happening for me is these higher frequencies are manifesting into my physical reality. Like, I think it was last week I shared, a few weeks ago, I was talking to a friend, his face literally transformed into somebody else's face. Like my eyes saw somebody else's face through his face. It was amazing. So this particular thing a few days ago, that screen pops of the earth, right? And I'm like, whoa. And so I'm sitting in the office feeling trapped because I'm like, the world is outside my window. And I love these beautiful people I get to work with, but I'm still safe inside my big house, but I feel trapped. I need to like get out and live. And so she was like, hey, you know, like to her, I think she said something like, I don't remember the exact words, but what I remember from it was like, the world's outside, it's going to be okay, she said, right? And then somebody walks in and she's like, oh, a friend of a friend, or her friend's, somebody that she knew had the virus. I'm like, oh, maybe it's a sign I shouldn't go, right? So it was just kind of like, whatever you want to make it mean, right? But the whole point that I really took, and it's whatever is true, right? Whatever is true, and then follow your intuition. Like the world is outside your window. And so I chose to have the courage to step back into the world. Like I was living, but like to be in the world, you know? And Jesus said, like, be like in the world, but not of the world, right? Like, don't be of that fear. Don't be of that greed or poverty or all those frequencies, right? But be in it and be the light, right? And I mean, I don't have a religious thing, but I feel Jesus walking with me and Buddha and like Kuan Yin and like, they know like there's stuff going on. So can we rise? Is there anything else you have to say about that, Jenny? Like, I just wanted to make sure I shared that today because I was like, that's such a miracle to see that, right? And then, I mean, we ended up talking for like 3 hours and then did our session, right? It's like, these connections are just, like I said, so soulful, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the more we're able to be in that place and move through the world, it helps other people too.
Yeah.
To realize that you can choose to some extent what you're experiencing. I mean, you can't choose to, you could choose to ignore COVID, let's say. It wouldn't necessarily be a good thing to do to ignore completely. It's not going to change whether it's there or not, but I think we can choose the experience that we want to have.
Right.
Be smart, but don't be afraid. I was telling a couple of business friends of mine in a group, as we're looking at what COVID is doing to businesses, especially early on working in the events industry, it was rather interesting in March watching all the big events collapse, especially in the Chicago area where I live, where there's a huge convention industry. And it was like week after week, just seeing these big shows get postponed or canceled and knowing what devastation that was wreaking on the local economy. You have that choice to go into fear and worry about, is my business going to survive and what's going to happen? And it's really easy to fall into that place. And I do not mean to make light or gloss over, there are so many people who are really, truly struggling. But as a business owner, I can perhaps make different choices. I have some control over my destiny and what I want to experience. And I was telling these friends, like back in the Great Recession of '08, I didn't even know that we were in a Great Recession for months later because there was so much going on in my personal life. I was just completely tuned out to what was happening in the world. I knew there were some little blips happening, but I had no idea until about 6 months later what had actually happened. And well, sometimes ignorance can be bliss, right? What you choose to focus on can change your experience. So I've just decided with this in particular, I will choose to not participate as much as possible. Like, you can still do great things, even though the world is a little shaky and scary. And I think it helps other people, like just having that, I'm going to make this the best year to date in my business. That's how it's going to be. And if you can give that sense of calm and certainty and knowing that, yes, things are really, really crazy and swirly right now. Like, talk about the eye of a hurricane, right? It's insanity. And I'm like, of course I have appendicitis in 2020 because it's 2020. So nothing surprises me at this point. But if you can be that calm, it helps other people because that gives them something to latch onto and tune into.
And I think it's just each moment. I mean, it's like, honestly, I don't even know if I'll be here in a couple months, right? So it's kind of like, we know, but we don't know. I guess I know deep down, maybe I do feel like there is something that's going to happen if California pretty big. I don't know that it'll be safe to be here. And so that's, I think, part of the reason I was like, wow, do I move? Do I not? Because I can feel things. We don't know for sure until they happen. But it's like, where can we be in this moment? And I don't know if you have any advice for this. I feel like a baby in this sense, kind of, because I'm so sensitive emotionally. Like, we talk all the time about this when we do get to talk, just the panic or the fear. Because like when you even say it, I notice I go, like my body just, it reacts, right? And Shri and Kira talk about this, but I think specifically Shri was saying, like your body, it feels things, it's getting information, and you don't want to let it stop you because then you're in that contracted fear place, right? But it is giving you feedback. So like my intuition knows, we all know something's coming, right? And so how can we stay in that peaceful place and enjoy each moment, like we both said, an eye in the hurricane, moving forward in the light, being that light, like I just see this radiance, right? Like as we are that light, the radiance ripples.
For me, and maybe it's because I'm a scouting mom, I don't know, but be prepared. Is that my son is in Scouts, so the whole be prepared motto definitely applies for me. And it's a way that it calms me down. Like, yes, you're taking in information and you're picking it up in your body. I don't tune out the media completely because to me it's helpful to check a variety of sources just to get everybody's take and just keep an eye on what's happening, but not using that to go down a run, like the runaway train into fear, but I'll use it to be prepared. So for me, as we're heading into the fall, some of the early models with COVID, looking at like the 1918 flu pandemic, showing the model of how the disease progressed and spread. Like to me, going into the fall and knowing that kids are going back to school in some way, shape, or form, and we're all going to be indoors more, there's a chance that things will get worse. So for me, I've started to restock the pantry, just make sure everything is what it is, get some information together. Like I'm not a prepper, but I like to be prepared, right? So for me, and that helps calm me down. Like I know that whatever's coming, I can't control what's going to happen, but if I feel more prepared in the moment, then that helps me stay in my centered space, that I got it. Whatever's going to happen will happen. And I can only control Jack Canfield teaches, right? You can control your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. So those things are within my control. What happens with how COVID spreads or what other crazy things happened in 2020, completely outside of my control, but I can control those three things. So for me, it's being prepared. My husband laughs at me. I live in Illinois. We have tornadoes. So when there's a tornado warning or the tornado watch, which means that conditions are ripe for a tornado, I literally will get out. I'll get my purse and I'll put the car keys in, and I get my cash and I have my shoes and I line them up with the dog leash ready to go to the basement on a moment's notice. He's like, really? I'm like, this is how I sleep.
Yeah.
I can sleep at night because I know that if the worst happens, the chances are small, but man, I'm ready. I got it. And same sort of thing here. What do you need to do to be prepared? But then just get on with life.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because of course I'm applying it to myself. I'm like, be prepared. Okay, stay in Oregon where you don't really want to live and be perfectly prepared, or live your life now and be in the next moment and trust that the next moment is. So either way, I agree. Prepare 100% and trust that you're also taken care of, right? I think both of those are just helpful.
Do within your limits, be reasonable, but don't shut down completely. I talked to my dad yesterday. We view many things opposite. I love him to death. He's my father, of course. We don't have the same view on many things, but this idea of how to handle things definitely came up. And the mask debate came up to some extent. Like, to me, wear it because it's an easy thing to do, but don't live your life trapped indoors. Be smart. We talk about that in our family. What risks are we willing to take?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be locked indoors for the next 3 years till things go away. You need to get out and live life. Just be smart about it. Take a reasonable precautions, reasonable risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my aunt's a nurse, and I stopped in Sacramento, and she's just like, Abby, you can go and be protected. Like, just be smart about it. And my cousin's like, don't be a dum-dum, He's like, wear your mask. And I'm like, you're not wearing yours. Literally had somebody take a picture of me the other day in Oregon. Like, I wasn't wearing my mask, but I was way more than 6 feet away, right? And meanwhile, her mask wasn't on. And I was like, whatever, like, peace, like, send you love. Like, yeah, frame my picture, please. It's just,
don't be a dum-dum. I like that motto.
Isn't that funny? I was just like, whatever, Jared. Like, it was so funny. But also in my approach, like, I'm just noticing like how quick that, like, either to judge or be judged. And I'm like, how quick could I transform that into love and forgiveness? Like, okay, for whatever reason, you're needing to judge me about the mask thing. I know I'm not hurting you because I'm way more than 6 feet, but can I just transform and transmute that energy by sending you love, right? And I'm just noticing this in my life in general. Like, I just want to be happy. So how can I send love instead of the hate or the judgment or the fear? Like, can we just do that and just shift the way we think so we're not even in that frequency of judgment?
I love that. I love that, because really, wouldn't you just much rather be happy and loving? Why spend your energy being judgy or angry? Like, bless you. That's how you want to live. Okay, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like, be happy. It feels better.
That's right.
So, man, is there anything else? Like, where do you want to go from here? I'd love to like hear any other ways, that you followed your intuition to greater health and wealth and love. And, I know you have a beautiful family and just everything you've done from that core place of love that we resonate.
I kind of laugh. I need really clear signs for my intuition sometimes.
You need clear signs?
I like really clear signs.
Yeah.
I've had 3 instances in my life, like in the movies where the room is dark and then the spotlight shines down. I've had that 3 times in my life. Like, that's how really crystal clear I like to have it. So that I've had that happen when I saw my husband. And I had known him for years, but it was like when I was reintroduced to him, it was literally that clear. And I went home, and I was still in college. I went home that weekend and told my best friend at college, like, oh, I saw this guy again and I'm going to marry him. Like, totally crazy, but I just know. And
Wow,
that,
I just
that
got
is,
a
it
deja
took,
vu when you said that, Jenny. When you said that, I just got this total deja vu. Like those things that are meant to be, we just know that we know that we
yeah,
know.
yeah. So that's, that definitely has led to a marriage and a really interesting journey. We've had some big ups and downs in our life, and intuition has guided me through those ups and downs, but we're in a really, really good place. We've been married, I don't even know how long. I stopped doing math after like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Um, I had that when I found my career. So I went to journalism school, and the whole time it's like, I don't know why I'm getting a journalism degree. I don't have that personality. I was painfully shy at the time, but I just knew that I was supposed to do that. So it was just one, like, okay, my intuition is telling me I'm supposed to do it. It makes absolutely no sense because this is not really on paper the right career for me at all. And then I got a political science degree just because somebody told me I couldn't possibly get it done in the same amount of time. I'm like, well, yeah, I can. Okay. So I have these 2 degrees that really I have no plan for using.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
about 6 weeks after I graduated, I went to a writing conference, but it was more fiction writing. And there was one session where nothing about the titles really appealed. So I just stepped into a doorway, literally, like, looking around. Here are the 4 rooms that are open. Well, I guess I'll go in here. And there was a copywriter speaking, and it was the second time. Like, I had no idea this was even a career. But I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is what I was going to journalism school for, to learn how to do research and how to talk to people, and then how to take all those details and weave them into a narrative.
Yeah.
That's what the journalism school was preparing me for. But the copywriting is more about influence, right? And on the surface, it's to help companies sell whatever they're selling, because copywriting, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, is salesmanship in print. It's writing scripts and emails and web pages and direct mail pieces, the words that you're using to sell something or influence others. I like to switch it a little and think of it as really opening the door for people to step up into what they're supposed to be doing, what their next step is, because really you can't make somebody do something that they don't want to. It's finding that little bit within them that says, that really their intuitive voice that says, yeah, this is the right thing for you. This is your next step. Attending this event is the next step in your progression or your evolution. Investing in this course will help you get to where you want to go, learn the skill that you need to become that person that you're supposed to be becoming and to have the impact that you're supposed to have. So finding those words really is more of resonating with the voice already in them. So that was just kind of fun that I found that purely by accident, by listening to my intuition, really.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Found my first spiritual teacher the same way. I was at a client's event to learn about the event and was just in the room, and she took the stage, and it was the same thing. I'm like, okay, I like these really clear signs that say, yes,
Yeah.
this is what you're supposed to do. That's actually how we found our latest dog. We've had, we're a dog family, and our last dog lived until she was over 15. She's kind of a handful at times. So we took about a year and a half off from having dogs. And my husband was recovering from a concussion, missed his birthday. He's like, well, did you guys get me a dog? I'm like, well, why did we get you a dog? No, you didn't say you wanted a dog, but okay, we'll start looking for a dog. No problem. And I went on Pet Finder and I was looking at all these pictures, and there was a dog that looked exactly like our first dog. And I
Wow.
had like 3 different photos of this dog, and I clicked onto the next photo and it looked exactly like our third dog, just black fur instead of brown fur. So, like, good, here's our dog. She's been waiting for us. And she had been at the shelter since like the month after our dog had died. So she had been waiting in a shelter for a year and a half for us to find her and recognize her.
You know what I feel, Jenny, when you said that? I feel like the world is waiting, your purpose is waiting, your dog is waiting, your house is waiting, your kids are waiting, your partner's waiting. Like the world is waiting for you to show up as you and live your purpose. And so your intuition, again, I don't want to claim to have the answers, but in my experiences, bring your awareness from your head to your heart. then drop into your gut and follow your yeses. And as you were talking, of course, I'm relating to myself, and I'm sure we all are, as Jenny's talking, right? Like, when are the times when I followed my intuition? Hold those, anchor those. Those are those trust moments that Jenny was talking about, of like, yeah, remember the times that I did follow my intuition and it worked out, right? Like, I got a scholarship to go to college in LA. I left it within less than 3 months. The dean was like, "Are you crazy?" And I was like, "Maybe, but I'm leaving." And I started my practice less than a year later when I was 19 years old. So on paper, it made no sense. Like, he was like, "You're probably crazy." I'm like, "Okay, maybe I did lose my mind, but I seem to be successful and okay and happy." So, and even this studio, right? Like, ridiculously expensive. Like, we could have gotten this apartment that was like, maybe, I want to say the down payment part was maybe a quarter of the price. But it was like, no, do this one. Well, it's a block from the beach, which is really why we're here, right? Like, the ocean, right? Meanwhile, a 3-bedroom house, saying, letting go of that, right? Doesn't make sense. But your intuition is like, move in the direction of your heart, grow and evolve and love. So everybody listening, like, I really invite you to like have the courage. And again, it's funny. I am like, I don't want to tell you what to do, just like all my friends say, but like, your inner guidance knows. And I guess I just want to say, have the courage. And the same person that, you know who you are, because I know you're watching the show, like, he was sending me something about eagles too, and they kept popping up, which is courage, right? And so my whole way over, like, I saw a couple other eagles, like, you'll be sent signs, and then like a couple days before, talk about the spotlight, I was like on the phone or whatever, Zoom with a client, the sun literally came in my office like a spotlight. And she actually said, she told me some story about how like she commanded a tornado to like go, just to like leave. And she told me that for a reason, because that's part of what I did to get here. I like commanded the path forward. I was like, I'm not going to stay here. I'm depressed, losing my mind. Like, I need to go. And so it's like, I commanded the path in light from within, right? Forward. And it appeared, right? Like my angel car, like everything. So I just feel like that love activated in you paves the path forward. That path of your soul is waiting for you. Follow it, listen, right? And even if it doesn't make sense, I guarantee you there's science now, because there's this woman, I wish I could remember her name. If you go to intuitiontoincomesummit.com, she's one of those people. And God, she wrote a book on it, but she told me 500 million cells are in your gut. Meaning, when you follow the intelligence of your gut, there's more information there than your rational brain can comprehend. And I think her name starts with an M. But anyways, you guys can email me at abby@lifeforceconnection.com if you want me to find her, because she is just awesome and she travels all over. But my point is, there's science behind what I'm telling you. I just feel it. Jenny just lives it. I live it. We just live it because all of us know it. So the question is, go ahead.
I was going to say, some of us are better than others at listening.
Practice, I swear, because Kira was like, Abby, take the step, but it doesn't necessarily get easier. Like, maybe you get happier, but then there's just the next challenge, right? Then there's like, so, okay, follow my step to go to California. Then I was like, okay, now there's a smog. Can I breathe through it? So I feel like wherever we're at, we're always going to be asked to make that choice. And like, can you have the courage to step into faith and trust and feel your feet solid? I mean, honestly, we took a picture last night, you guys. I think the light, the way it was reflecting. So I do the chakras. And if you guys want to go, the Intuitive Success Club, but like, I don't know, can you guys see that red light? See the red light on my face and the yellow light coming through? That is red chakra, first chakra, and yellow, which is third chakra. I was carrying the frequency of foundation, base chakra. Yellow was power. It was coming, the light was coming through. So when your foundation is in love, it will ignite your power and you will move forward with the light. So I do want to invite everybody to the Intuitive Success Club. I got this when I was driving, that, we have classes that you can just take. You don't have to coach with me, but just get the classes if you're feeling called. Like, I've laid the path. Like what I talked about 10 years ago when I opened the practice was like, I literally birthed the intuitive success coaching process. It's how to activate your intuition, to break through your fears and blocks and live that life you desire. Because as you activate it within you, you become it, you live it, and you're the expression and the example of it. And so, Jenny has this beautiful business around marketing. I have a business on intuition. Your business can reflect the truth of you. So can your relationships, so can everything, right? But I just want to invite you and go to lifeforceconnection.com. www.lifeforceconnection.com. Send me an email, abby@lifeforceconnection.com, abby@lifeforceconnection.com, and get activated. Let your intuition illuminate your path. And Jenny, I don't know, I know you have a really big agency. And, for those of you who are feeling called to do more of your businesses, obviously this process can help, but Jenny can help you like bring it to life. And I'm a little reluctant, Jenny, because I don't know if you're accepting new clients, because I know you're busy, but like, if you can at least give a resource of people who are wanting to, obviously use the magic in marketing. Like, I told Donovan, call it magical marketing, because he does copywriting too, but it's like there's magic in copywriting. There's magic in words. Like, I really just want to take a few moments, like, seriously, that copy you sent me, it's magic. It's like people read who I am in words, and you translated that into words that now thousands of people get to follow. So how can we all help each other? How can you use your gift of marketing and copywriting in a way that can help people bring their message? I mean, the clients that I have, like they have huge messages. Like I hope they're listening, that they can contact you about how to get their message out, right? They're authors, speakers, teachers, like the message needs to be heard. So yeah, I'm like, here's a microphone, go. Like, we need you to help get it out, right? Yeah.
All these things to talk about.
Yeah.
I would say if you'd like more, I'd love to talk to you, whether we work together or not. If there's any way I can serve you, absolutely, I'd love to do it. I really would. I love to share what I've learned over the years and help people get their message out, because to me it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a game to it, because on the surface level, like I write conversion copy, so everything that I do ultimately is something that should be measured. How many people are opening the email, how many click through to the email, how many buy, how many opt in, like those are all very mental, like in your head, logical numbers to be watching. But to me, the real juice of it is by taking whatever is in you, all of your thoughts as the expert. It's hard. It's really hard to write your own stuff, right? It's really, really hard. And there are some tricks that I've learned to make that easier for people to get their own words out. But what I like to do is pull the information out of you, hear your story, and combine it with things I know about your audience, or I've learned about your audience, or talking to audience members. And then again, weave it into that narrative and talk to the audience member, your avatar, your ideal client, to get that picture of where they are right now, and talk about intuition like that. That to me is something that I use all the time when I write copy. One of my clients that I work with, he's a business strategist who works with a lot of the really big personal development speakers. And he does the very logical planning out the campaigns and what we're going to do and how we're going to price things and what the products look like. And then he'll say, here's the funnel we're building. And if you want it to work, then you have to have Jenny write it. So that's really good for me. It's worked well. Gotten to work with some really great clients that way. Yeah. But we were having this conversation. She's like, I just don't know how you come up with all these different angles. And to me, yeah, it's no way. There are some techniques you can learn to make it easier, certain formulas you can learn, or starting points and templates. That's all fine and dandy. But for me personally, it's really tuning into who's that one person I'm writing to and being able to put yourself in their shoes. Like, how are they feeling? It's not just like, what are they thinking already? Because one of the secrets of good copy is to enter that conversation already going on in their mind and their heart. So how are they thinking about this problem? How are they feeling about that problem? And if you can meet them there, you build rapport, they trust you, and then they'll believe you, and you can take them where they need to go, which is, hey, I get that problem that you're dealing with, and I know why, I know how you're feeling, and it really sucks, and I know what the problem is and how to fix it. And if you come with me, my course, my webinar, my live training, my coaching, whatever it is, has the solution. It's the boat that'll get you from where you are to where you want to be. And finding those words, like, it's just fun. But for me, it's very intuitive. Like, I don't know. I just sit, like, I cannot write with music playing, especially words. Like, I can't. The way I calm my brain down, I listen to a recording of a box fan. I kid you not. So it's just this whirring white noise. That's what I have to put in my earbuds. And it occupies my logical brain, the conscious brain. And then I literally am just kind of feeling these thoughts come up. Like, here's what I say next, or here's where we need to go with that email, or here are all the different angles, all the ways that you can start the conversation. Here's the one to go with, and here's what to say next. I personally just feel it, which I think has been one of the secrets why I've done well at copywriting, because I can just kind of feel it. It can make it trickier to teach people to, like, I don't know, you got to tune in and kind of feel what the words are saying to you. You really have to be in that quiet space. So when you talk about how do you connect with your intuition, to me, it's the same process. Get in that same state to do your copywriting.
Yeah. So, I'm feeling guided to take a moment, like, for us all to tune in with each other, because you said it. It's like I saw something the other day, like, stay tuned, tune in, because I know you tuned in when you wrote it, because people feel it. And it's like writing a book. So in this moment, let's just take a moment to tune in to our intuition, bringing just golden white light from the crown of our head down through our heart into our gut, letting it just flow through us like a waterfall of light, connecting straight to the core of the earth, just filling us all up with this love and this light, then coming back up through the heart, letting us all meet each other in this beautiful place of unconditional love and our heart centered. And then ask, what does the world need to hear right now? What message do I need to share? Let's just pause for a moment with that. And let yourself write that. Maybe it's 2 sentences. Maybe it's a word for today. Maybe it's as simple as I am love, and living in that mantra. Bria at Oneness Talk Radio gave me a mantra 3 days ago. I am safe. Maybe it's just that. But Jenny, I want to invite you to share, if you said people can reach out to you, your information and how they can connect with you and your agency, and to feel she's so here to serve. And, we all are. We're here to serve each other. And I just believe truly business done in this way of love and service is one of the best things we can do for each other, because it helps us put our oxygen mask on, because we're taking care of ourselves and the people we love the most, each other, right? And our families. So Jenny, do you want to share just that information? And I feel like there's more too for you to share with the copywriting piece of, how you write, you tune in and create that space to receive and hear the message, and then to put it on paper so it carries forward and it leaves a legacy, right? It leaves an invitation and a legacy.
Yes, it ripples outward. Contact information, probably the best site to go to is seminarmarketingpro.com. And there's a contact form, so you can reach me there, send me an email that way, or reach me on LinkedIn or Facebook, Seminar Marketing Pro. And then my name is JENNYHA, M as a mother, B as in boy, Y. So definitely reach out. I love meeting new people and hearing what they're up to. And it's just great fun. So let's get your messages out. But yeah, in terms of the copywriting, like the piece I love is knowing the big ripple. It's fun to play the marketing game and watch numbers change, and knowing that if you tweak a subject line, how that can ripple through a funnel and create more income down the road. But to me, the biggest thing is knowing that by writing this thing, yes, it helps the clients that I work with get their message out in different ways. Two of the things that I hear most often from clients are, you sure I teach all of that? Like, that sounds really good. I want to go to my own event. And that's what I like to do, is help elevate your work, just knowing how amazing it is. I work with some really cool clients who are doing great things. But what I love knowing is that, okay, I can help my clients save some time and make their lives easier, and hopefully make them more money with higher conversion rates. But then the bigger impact is knowing that for every person who comes through that funnel, who attends the event, goes through the coaching, like knowing how it ripples outward, because they come, I work a lot with personal development people in that space. So what they're teaching changes lives, it changes people, and then they become different people for their families, for their coworkers, for their employees, and it just keeps spreading outward, which is really awesome. I love that about what I do.
Yeah, you
Right?
do it so
Good
well.
fun. It's good
You
fun.
do it so well. I mean, look at me. And there was a boat that went down the river the other day, and there's this ripple. I'm like, what does that mean? It really ripples. You know, the boat, our ship ripples out. And you've clearly done that for me. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yes. But in terms of, I can share a great copywriting tip. Like if you struggle to find those words, because again, it can be hard talking about your own work. We have this in our editor that is constantly chattering about, oh, that's not the right way to say it, or the pressure of I have to fill X number of seats at my event or in my program, and like all of that weighs on you when you're writing. And there's some techniques I have learned that have definitely helped. One is writing with a timer. So you just sit down and like focus on one little chunk of copy that you have to write, like maybe the bullet points of what you'll learn, or maybe you're writing up the section where you're describing the investment. Like you just focus on one chunk and you set a timer for 25 minutes. And that's all you can do is write. You have to turn off your phone. There's no checking your email, not being on Facebook. You just have to write, even if it's, I hate writing. Write that for a while until you get going. Just get the words out, because getting them out is definitely the hardest part. Once it's out, then you can start to move things around and edit and clean stuff up. But I found that between listening to white noise when I'm writing and writing with a timer, that's the way to get myself into that massive output phase. The other thing that you can do is talk to people who know you, talk to your past clients, talk to people you're working with now, and ask them, like let's say you're talking to somebody about a coaching program that you want to do. Talk to your past coaching clients and ask them, like, what was the situation when you first met me? Like, what was going on in your life? What were the red flags that somebody else might recognize in their life? And how are you feeling about that problem? And then what did I say in my marketing that appealed to you? Like what struck the chord and made you take the leap from being interested to actually signing up? Digging into that can really help.
Right.
And then now that you've gone through the program, how's life different? What did you get from it? What was the biggest takeaway? And if you not only get that, but you capture the exact words that they're using, then you can weave that back into your own copy. And it's like this instant resonance, because it's not you trying to figure out what to say. It's the words that your audience is already using to talk to themselves about the problem that you're going to help them solve, or the growth that they want to step into.
That's beautiful. I love it. That's beautiful. Oh, well, is there anything else you want to share? I know Bria just told me that I guess I need to wrap up 3 minutes before the show actually ends because it runs in. So is there any like final words you want to share with the audience? Anything else about your intuition?
Oh, just keep practicing. Like for me, it's a lesson I have to learn continually. Keep trusting it. Like for one, I was thinking one of the times when you were sharing, something that has helped me just based on how I'm wired. Part of that trusting the intuition is for me tapping into my contrarian streak, where I'm one of those people, like if you tell me, as evidenced by my political science degree that I don't use, if you tell me I can't do something that I want to, or if my mother tells me I have to do something that I don't want to, even if it's something I want to do, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I found that to be helpful at times when I know that my intuition says that, hey, this is the path you're supposed to take. And all the logical signs would say, no, that's crazy. Like when I started my business, I had a job. And my husband and I went on vacation. It was something that we had like someday I'll have my own business. When we're ready to have kids, I'll have my own business.
Yeah.
And we went on vacation. There was some crazy stuff happening at work. And we just decided, oh, we're going to do this. Like when I get back, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice. I didn't have like anything prepared. I didn't have a savings account ready to go, like nothing. And it was one, like everybody around me was like, why are you doing this? This is crazy to give up a job and start a business. And I had to tap into that a little bit, like, no, I'm going to prove you wrong, because I know that this is what my intuition says. So sometimes, at least for me, the contrarian or having that fierceness of protecting that vision has been helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would say about it, but it's worked for me.
Live your vision. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Well, it's so beautiful. I can feel I need to go get something to eat because I burn up so much energy. But love you all. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, part of my world, and just this amazing just planet that we're all on right now. So, Jenny, love you so much, and we'll see everybody next week. Take care. Bye.